Hello, every folks, and good morning. Welcome to a quick discussion on something I never thought I'd actually see the day of, which is that, yeah, the PSP Angel Knight is actually legit fixed at this point. So I will be doing a Know Your Unit episode as far as, well, as far as Divine Knights go and stuff like that for, the One Vision overhaul and stuff. But, I haven't even gotten all of its features yet. It turns out it actually continues getting features straight into the post game and stuff. So basically haven't unlocked everything for this class yet. But what I did want to go ahead and just kind of share overall is that you know that feeling, that very specific feeling of like you finally managed to get your your Angel Knights and your Knight of Lotus, or in the old SNES game, or in Ogre Battle 64 or whatever else. That sort of very special feeling of you only want this on one character in one situation. Like just having one on your team is enough. It's like it's just a symbolic thing, you know. And the thing was, in the PSP version of the game, the class sucked so hard, and it was so dang difficult to get a hold of, that it was a little bit of a pain. It was an interesting class as a sort of like final end stage thing in Reborn, but again, it still took a little bit of explanation to get there, and oftentimes they were somebody that you basically would use after they've, been Ogre Bladed a bunch of times or whatever else, so it was a little bit of a sort of logical endpoint, as it were. But specifically recently, I've been, doing this whole thing of just trying to test every little bit and piece I can find in One Vision, and in this particular case, there's one particular thing that they had changed in terms of the pacing of the game, which is that in Chapter 4 they had thrown in a reference to the Brenton Morn fight from the SNES version, in which if all of his dark units were killed in that version, he would spawn in angels, as a sort of like a sign of him being, on the sign of basically just like the whole heaven and hell thing going on with him. That he starts off with all Terror Knights, and then he can come in with all Angel Knights, and that just like interesting juxtaposition of both sides was represented there, but that basically in the PSP version it was just a pretty direct fight, as it was in Reborn, although it was pointed out in a conversation that I saw recently that it's kind of interesting that in Reborn they actually changed it to show a bit more of the sort of background of his classes there, where he himself has access to summons, his soldiers have access to draconics, to basically show off the areas that they've been delving into. But that being said, specifically, the version that I'm talking about here today is One Vision. And by the way, sorry if you hear any random noises in the background. I wasn't expecting to do a video right now, so kind of got the laundry running. But the cool thing is, you remember that moment in like Knight of Lotus or in Ogre Battle 64, those moments when you had just finally gotten that one Angel Knight for your team, that like big moment where it was just awesome to see this unit that was pretty much always going to be a winner whenever you employed them. See, that was this class's issue when it came to its PSP variant here. That it was something that you would get, and oftentimes it was just too late for it to realistically be of much use. You would have to train it up completely. It wasn't exactly a very logical evolution point for a lot of characters. Oftentimes just being a case where they would either have to completely train up their weapons from the very beginning. They were super limited in terms of their well, everything really. A lot of their skills were very oddly specific in terms of the stat requirements that they wanted. And again, the Reborn version fixed that to some degree, but it was still a class that you were getting in the post-game, which felt a little weird because, again, most people don't end up going into the post game. It's typically like this kind of a niche end game class that's meant to be symbolic of like what you're doing, basically, And so to that end, what we see in One Vision here is that after you get this class unlocked, you actually get it from that Branton Morn fight. Essentially, it actually manages to function as a logical evolution point at this point. Like, that was the thing that just, I was really not sure how they would pull it off, and it turns out just through extended weapon access, through the rework of how a lot of their skills work, and frankly, just how freaking durable this class is, it actually does end up feeling like a really fantastic prize here. So I just wanted to just kind of give props to that particular situation here, because like at this moment, this is the first time that this Angel Knight has finally managed to actually get himself up to scratch as far as levels go, despite being at a 10 plus level disadvantage for most of the time that I've been using him. the dude has been absolutely rocking it, absolutely everywhere. I mean, the guy has just been a dang near unkillable force on this team, and again, that's just due to the fact that they're the first heavy flyer that you get. Technically speaking, on the neutral route, you do have access to Tamuz, who's got access to heavy lizard classes as a Hawkman. But in this particular case, I had actually taken one of my two Terror Knights, the previous Halberd guy that I showed off in earlier videos, and switched him over into an Angel Knight because I was just like, you know what? If this class is able to hold up as an actual promotion this time around, then it's finally made it. Then it's finally gotten... Okay, interrupted by a random ad. Awesome. Anyway, so yeah, I just figured if this is finally the moment where this class actually manages to serve as a promotion, that it actually feels like an upgrade to the character when you go and get them, and not just some random side grade or whatever else, and they're not simply relying on one small piece of gear or whatever else, then this is really, then this is really finally the sort of Angel Knight that we always hoped for in these games here. And sure enough, that's exactly what we saw here. Where with this guy, what we have at this point is somebody who's, who as I mentioned earlier, like I took this Terror Knight, trained this guy as this Terror Knight here, and the extreme bulk on this dude, on top of still running a lightweight shield, has basically meant that they've just been flying around with dang near impunity pretty much everywhere they go. So it's been a really fantastic feeling with this unit. It's just felt really solid. I mean, in general, there's been basically no complaints as far as this dude goes. At first, I was not too sure on the actual Angel songs themselves, which the Angel songs have been reworked in this one, in which they're kind of like bar scramblers. So, like, you basically remove everybody in a circle's TP and then do an equal amount of damage, or do the same thing with MP, or just kind of switch positions of, I think it was like something like you drain all MP, TP, whatever else, and do the same amount of health, or something along those lines. It just a lot of little bar switches and stuff like that. So it's just felt really good, is what I'm trying to get across here. We're even in a map like the sort of upgraded version of the bowling alley here, as I like to call it. I mean, we still have a position here where he's just gladly able to juggernaut his way through the entire thing, and it just feels really good. So, either way, I just kind of wanted to throw that out there that yes, the feeling is legit. The feeling is real. They actually managed to get the Angel Knight feeling for the Angel Knight here, and it just... Yeah, man, it just makes me smile. Anyway, so, more cohesive video on the Angel Knight when there's time. Now I'm back to get some much-needed sleep. Alright, y'all take care. I will see you in the next one, and see you later.